Kyiv is running out of time and out of missiles. Russia keeps firing ballistic missiles. Ukraine says it has almost nothing left to stop them. Now, as the deadliest attacks keep coming, Zelensky is warning that the battle for Ukraine will be won or lost in the skies. Russia launched another large-scale missile and drone assault on Kyiv, killing at least 26 people in the Ukrainian capital. The attack came just days after another Russian strike claimed the lives of more than 30 civilians in the city, highlighting the growing intensity of Moscow's aerial campaign. According to Ukrainian authorities, missiles and drones struck residential apartment buildings, causing widespread destruction. In the northeastern city of Sumy, Russian drone attacks also killed 2 people, adding to the mounting civilian toll. President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned what he described as a brutal assault, saying Russia's strategy remained unchanged. As he prepares for the upcoming NATO summit in Turkey, where he is expected to hold talks with US President Donald Trump, Zelensky renewed calls for stronger air defenses. He lamented a shortage of arms to defend Ukraine against Russian ballistic missiles and said it was absurd that production could not meet demand to protect people.
We do not have enough means of defense, especially Patriot missiles. We have shown all our partners both the need for, and most importantly, the possibility of, providing greater protection for human life. It is simply absurd that, in the modern world, production has still not been scaled up to the level actually required to protect people from ballistic terror. We have long argued and demonstrated that we are capable of producing this category of defensive weapons ourselves. If Ukraine received US licenses to manufacture Patriot systems, our production would be sufficient not only to defend Ukraine, but also to assist partners who need them.
Earlier, NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte said allies and NATO partners must continue ensuring Ukraine receives the support it needs. However, Ukraine's immediate problem is becoming increasingly urgent. Supplies of Patriot PAC-3 interceptor missiles have reportedly been exhausted, leaving Ukrainian air defense units unable to counter Russia's fastest and most destructive ballistic weapons. Military expert and Defense Ministry advisor Serhiy Flash Beskresnov described the situation bluntly.
We simply don't have the missiles. We have nothing to use against ballistic missiles.
According to Beskresnov, almost all of Russia's ballistic missiles reached their targets during the latest attack because Ukraine lacked the interceptors needed to stop them. Speaking to the Financial Times, Zelensky argued that the decisive phase of the war has now shifted from land and sea to the air.
Today, I believe victory in this war belongs to whoever is smarter. If you stop the enemy on the battlefield, if you stop the war on land, and if you deny him dominance at sea, as we did with our naval drones driving the Russian fleet away, then the next battlefield becomes the sky. And frankly, in that contest, it matters far less whose territory is larger. We have moved into the air domain, and in the air, we are already competitive.
Zelensky also revealed that Trump had told him during a phone call that Ukraine is doing very well with its long-range drone campaign. Asked whether this signaled stronger American backing, Zelensky said he believed Trump was beginning to see the conflict differently.
President Trump wants to be where there's success.
However, Zelensky warned that the shortage of Patriot air defense systems and interceptors is now Ukraine's biggest weakness against ballistic missile attacks.
There remains only one unknown. Unfortunately, it is anti-ballistic defense. That is the major weakness for Ukraine in this equation. PAC-3 interceptors for Patriots sometimes arrived literally the day before a massive attack. There will never be enough Patriots for everyone. Europe should share technologies and industrial capabilities. We are waiting for a positive signal from the United States on licensed Patriot production.
As Russia intensifies its missile campaign and Ukraine's interceptor stockpiles continue to shrink, Kyiv insists the outcome of the war may now depend not on territory, but on who controls the skies. Ukraine has reportedly launched one of its broadest long-range drone offensives of the war, targeting strategic energy and military infrastructure across Russia and Russian-occupied Crimea, as Russian President Vladimir Putin pledged to intensify Moscow's own campaign against Ukraine. According to the Kyiv Independent, citing Russian telegram channels and independent Russian media, Ukrainian drones struck the St. Petersburg oil terminal in the early hours of July 4th. Videos circulating on social media appeared to show large fires and black smoke rising from the port area after explosions were heard. Russian officials claimed dozens of drones were intercepted over Leningrad Oblast, while the extent of any damage remains unverified. The terminal is one of Russia's largest fuel storage and export hubs. According to Euromaidan Press, it processes around 12.5 million tons of petroleum products annually. The outlet also reported that drone debris fell near the Baltic port of Vysotsk, which includes a Lukoil oil terminal, while Russian authorities said air defenses intercepted 67 UAVs over the Leningrad region. The reported strike is significant because St. Petersburg, located roughly 1,100 kilometers from Ukraine's border, and President Vladimir Putin's hometown, has rarely been targeted due to extensive Russian air defenses. Ukraine also continued its campaign against occupied Crimea. According to a separate Kyiv independent report, citing Russian telegram channels and NASA's Fire Information for Resource Management System, fires were detected near the Kerch ferry terminal and at the Jankoy military airfield, one day after reported strikes on the Saki airbase. The Ukrainian publication reported that Ukraine has intensified attacks aimed at isolating Crimea from Russian military logistics while degrading military infrastructure. Ukraine's unmanned systems forces also claimed that during June, they destroyed or seriously damaged 172 Russian defense industry and fuel energy facilities, along with nearly 3,000 additional military targets. Meanwhile, Ukraine also struck Russia's Belgorod region. Acting Governor Alexander Shuvayev described the overnight assault as a massive strike, saying,
"The regional center faced massive strikes overnight. In Belgorod, infrastructure objects were damaged, as a result of which disruptions in the supply of electricity and water were recorded. Several infrastructure facilities caught fire in the attack."
The expanding Ukrainian campaign comes as Moscow signals that its own military operations will continue. Speaking during a meeting with senior military commanders, reported by Interfax on July 3rd, Putin said Russia would continue large-scale strikes against Ukraine while expanding what Moscow calls a security buffer zone along the border.
The liberation of the Luhansk People's Republic has been fully completed. The destruction of Ukrainian armed forces formations continues in the Donetsk People's Republic, as well as in the Zaporizhia and Kherson regions. The establishment of a security buffer zone is proceeding as planned in the border areas of Ukraine's Kharkiv, Sumy, and Dnipropetrovsk regions.
Putin also claimed Russian forces have expanded their territorial gains this year.
Since the beginning of this year, Russian forces have captured 133 settlements and taken control of more than 3,000 square kilometers of our territory in Donbass and Novorossiya.
Russia additionally announced that its forces had captured Kostiantynivka in Ukraine's Donetsk region, a strategically important city in Ukraine's eastern defensive belt. The claim has not been independently verified, while Ukrainian officials have previously reported fighting on the city's outskirts. Putin also argued that Ukrainian attacks inside Russia would only prompt Moscow to widen its military operations.
The more strikes the enemy attempts to carry out against our civilian facilities, the more we will. And of course, we have to do everything necessary to protect those facilities and civilians, and we will. But the more such attempts the enemy makes, the larger the security zone we will have to create in the adjacent territory.
Putin's remarks followed Russia's latest wave of large-scale missile and drone attacks on Ukraine, while Kyiv has continued expanding its long-range strikes against Russian energy, logistics, and military infrastructure.